Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack crucial insights from, well, some really pressing topics. And today we are plunging into a world where the stakes, they just couldn't be higher. Cybersecurity. Globally, cybercrime isn't just a small issue. It's a massive economic force. It's projected to drain something like $9.5 trillion from the global economy just this year.
$9.5 trillion. Wow.
And it's rocketing to over $10.5 trillion by 2025. We're also seeing this dramatic 44% surge in weekly cyber attacks targeting organizations worldwide. That averages out to over 1,600 attacks every single week.
Yeah, those numbers aren't just statistics, are they? They
Yeah.
really paint a clear picture. It's a digital battleground out there. Vigilance isn't just, recommended anymore. It's basically essential for survival.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, our mission is really to equip you with the knowledge to navigate this constantly evolving digital frontier. We'll be focusing specifically on Hong Kong's unique landscape today. We're going to extract key insights from the Hong Kong Police Force's Cybersecurity and Technology Crime Bureau, the CSTCB, their cybersecurity report for 2024. And we'll also weave in the latest on Hong Kong's data protection laws, recent privacy updates, things like that.
Right.
The goal is to help you understand the threats, how Hong Kong is responding because they have a multi-pronged approach, and probably most importantly, actionable strategies for everyone listening.
And our core material, it comes straight from the front lines, you could say, the CSTCB report.
Yeah.
But we're also supplementing that with detailed info on Hong Kong's data protection laws and these crucial updates covering everything from, say, cloud compliance to breach trends and even those often overlooked data risks that pop up after mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, post-M&A. That's a tricky one.
Definitely. It's all about giving you that comprehensive view.
Okay, let's start with just how intense this threat landscape has become. Even in a place like Hong Kong, which is, a sophisticated digital hub. In the past year, Hong Kong recorded over 33,000 technology crime cases. Now think about this. That's a staggering 35% of all crime reported.
35%, that's huge.
It really is. It's not some niche problem anymore. It's mainstream. It just proves our digital lives are now like a primary target for criminals.
And the financial hit?
Over 5 billion Hong Kong dollars. And the vast majority of that, more than 80%, was down to online deception. Scams, basically.
Wow. And this isn't just about local incidents hitting Hong Kong, right? The CSTCB Cybersecurity Center, they're constantly analyzing global threat intelligence. I think the report said over 25 million pieces recently.
That's right.
And what's really alarming is that over 440,000 of those pieces were specifically targeting Hong Kong. That sheer volume, it just underscores this constant, unseen battle being waged to protect the city's digital infrastructure.
So if that's the scale, what about the sophistication? Because these aren't just random acts, are they? We're seeing increasingly advanced attack methods.
Definitely.
Take cyber espionage, for example.
Right. These are some of those dangerous attacks out there. They're often linked to what we call APT groups, Advanced Persistent Threat Groups.
ADTs, okay.
Yeah, think of them as, well, very well-resourced actors, often state-backed. They're focused on long-term, stealthy infiltration, not just quick hits, but getting in, staying hidden, maybe stealing vital intelligence or disrupting infrastructure over time.
So they're patient.
Incredibly patient.
Yeah.
And meticulous. They use custom malware, zero-day exploits, vulnerabilities that nobody even knows exist yet.
Right, the unknown unknowns.
Exactly. And they use what's called living off the land, or LOTL techniques.
LOTL.
Living off the land. It's particularly sneaky because it means the attackers are using the legitimate tools already present in your system, like standard admin tools.
So their activity blends in.
Precisely. It makes their malicious actions almost indistinguishable from normal operations.
Yeah.
It's very hard to detect.
Okay, any examples?
Sure. We've seen groups like Ocean Lotus or APT32. They've targeted government and research institutions using spear phishing, highly targeted emails. Then there's the Lazarus Group. They've been active for, over a decade now. A classic tactic of theirs is luring individuals with fake cryptocurrency job ads on social media.
A job ad? How does that work?
Well, they get the target interested, maybe through LinkedIn or something, offer them a great remote job. Then, as part of the onboarding or a coding test, they ask them to download and install some software.
And that software is malicious.
Exactly. Malware-laden tools designed to steal virtual assets, credentials, you name it.
And the real-world impact we're seeing,
Yeah.
it's just devastating. I remember reading about an incident last March. An APT group stole 4,000 Bitcoin.
Yes, that was huge, valued at hundreds of millions of US dollars at the time. It hit a Japanese cryptocurrency exchange.
But didn't they target it indirectly?
That's the key point. They didn't breach the main exchange directly. They went after an employee of a related wallet company through one of these fake job offers.
Wow.
It just shows their calculated, patient approach. Find the weakest link, exploit it.
Okay, so espionage is one major threat vector. What else is keeping security teams up at night?
Well, on a related note, supply chain attacks are another critical and growing threat.
Supply chain, like attacking software vendors.
Exactly, or even open source projects.
Yeah.
Attackers spend months doing reconnaissance, carefully choosing their targets to create the maximum possible downstream impact. They compromise trusted development pipelines the systems use to build and distribute software, and then use authorized update mechanisms to deploy backdoors or malware.
So the malware comes disguised as a legitimate update.
Precisely. And what makes them so incredibly dangerous is that these malicious payloads often carry authentic digital signatures from the compromised vendor.
Which means security software might just wave them through.
Correct. It makes them incredibly hard to detect.
We saw a chilling example of this recently, didn't we? With XCUtils.
Oh yes, the XCUtils incident. That sent shockwaves through the security community. A malicious backdoor was discovered in versions 5.6.0 and 5.6.1 of this very common data compression library used in many Linux distributions.
And this wasn't just a bug, right? It was deliberate.
Absolutely deliberate. The backdoor had a CVSS score of 10.
10 out of 10. Maximum severity.
Maximum. Easily exploitable, potentially devastating impact. It turned out a threat actor, known online as Jetty75, had infiltrated this open source project over a period of 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, gained trust, became a maintainer, and then quietly slipped in this backdoor. If it hadn't been discovered by chance, this single incident could have impacted millions, potentially tens of millions, of Linux servers globally, allowing remote code execution.
That's terrifying, the potential impact.
It really is. And then, of course, there's the whole issue of artificial intelligence being weaponized.
AI in cybercrime. It feels like we've gone from talking about it as a future risk to it's here now.
It's definitely here now. AI-powered attacks have rapidly moved from being theoretical risks to very tangible threats. And one of the biggest impacts is that AI is fundamentally lowering the technical barrier for attackers. Meaning less skilled cybercriminals can now execute sophisticated attacks that were previously only possible for, highly advanced adversaries. AI tools can help them write malware, craft convincing phishing emails, identify vulnerabilities.
It's incredible how it's being leveraged. You mentioned phishing. AI makes those much more convincing, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about highly personalized phishing scams, tailored specifically to targets, using information scraped from online profiles or previous breaches. They can mimic writing styles, reference specific projects, making them much harder to spot and capable of bypassing traditional detection methods.
And it's not just phishing, is it?
No, far from it. We're seeing things like data poisoning, where attackers deliberately contaminate the training data used for AI models to make them unreliable or biased. And model extraction, where they essentially try to steal the underlying data or the intellectual property embedded within a trained AI model itself.
And companies are feeling this. Cisco reported that, 86% of organizations experienced AI-related security incidents in the past year.
86%. It's a huge number. It shows how widespread this is becoming.
And this has led to something even more concerning, right? This idea of malicious AI as a service.
Yes, MAI as a service. It's the emergence of a specialized underground marketplace. You can find leaked cloud credentials giving access to powerful GPU resources, access to compromised large language model services, even pre-trained malicious AI models ready to deploy.
So it makes sophisticated AI-driven attacks available off the shelf.
Pretty much. It further lowers the entry barriers for cybercriminals.
Which brings us maybe to the human element, social engineering.
Ah, yes, the human factor. It's often said, and it's still true, humans are often the weakest link in the security chain. As our technological defenses get better, hackers are increasingly becoming, human manipulators.
Exploiting psychology.
Exactly. Things like trust, greed, fear, urgency. Basic human emotions.
And it's effective.
Very effective. And it's scalable. Social engineering is often favored because it can be low cost and have a broad reach. APT groups, not just petty criminals, are launching large-scale social engineering attacks via instant messaging, emails, fake websites, targeting all sorts of industries: finance, education, e-commerce.
And remote work hasn't helped, I imagine.
No, the rise of remote work has significantly expanded the attack surface. More reliance on VPNs, online communication platforms. It just creates more potential entry points for these kinds of attacks.
There was that case study recently, a fake employee.
Oh, right. That was fascinating and scary. A few months ago, someone used AI-generated, completely fake personal photos and credentials to successfully go through remote interviews for a software engineer role.
At a cybersecurity company, no less.
Yes, a cybersecurity training platform. They actually got hired.
Unbelievable.
And then once onboarded, they immediately attempted to install malware. Thankfully, the company's internal systems flagged the suspicious activity.
But it shows how far attackers will go. Deep fake interviews.
Exactly. It highlights how absolutely crucial it is for both individuals and organizations to be constantly vigilant. You can't just trust automatically anymore.
Okay, one more major threat category we need to touch on, ransomware.
Ah, ransomware.
Ah,
Devastating by design.
it seems relentless.
It is. These attacks generally follow a brutal three-step method. Infiltrate the network, encrypt the data, and then extort the victim for a ransom, usually in cryptocurrency.
And they can be inside for a while before anyone notices.
Yes. What's particularly insidious is that attackers can remain undetected for weeks, sometimes even months, moving laterally within a network, mapping systems, exfiltrating data, before they actually deploy the encryption payload. This ensures maximum disruption and leverage.
And the extortion tactics keep evolving too, don't they? It used to be just encrypting the files.
Right. Then came double extortion, where they started stealing sensitive data before encrypting it, and then threatened to leak it publicly if the ransom wasn't paid.
Adding another layer of pressure.
Exactly. Now we're even seeing triple and quadruple extortion.
What does that involve?
Well, triple might involve adding a distributed denial of service, or DDoS, attack against the victim's public-facing services to increase pressure. Quadruple could involve contacting the victim's customers, partners, or even regulators about the breach. It's getting incredibly aggressive.
It sounds like a whole underground industry.
It absolutely is. You have ransomware as a service, or ransom platforms on the dark web, where developers lease out their ransomware tools to affiliates who carry out the attacks, sharing the profits. You also have initial access brokers who specialize just in gaining entry to networks and then selling that access to ransomware groups.
All facilitated by crypto.
Yes. Cryptocurrency makes the payments harder to trace and facilitates these cross-border criminal operations.
And how's Hong Kong faring with ransomware specifically?
The CSTCB report noted that ransomware cases in Hong Kong actually doubled last year, up to 46 reported cases. The highest ransom demand recorded reached nearly HK $39 million.
Wow. Are there specific ransomware families active?
Yes, prominent ones include Lockbit, though it's faced significant disruption recently, Phobos, ALPHV Black Hat, and Trigona. But the CSTCB's advice is very clear.
Don't pay.
Strongly advise victims not to pay. There's no guarantee you'll get your data back, and it absolutely fuels further criminal activity. Plus, paying might put you in legal jeopardy depending on sanctions lists.
Okay, let's just pause there for a second. The sheer scale and sophistication we've just discussed. I mean, from APTs and supply chain attacks to AI weaponization and these multi-layered ransomware schemes, it really underscores the immense pressure organizations are under. It's clearly no longer just about having basic firewalls. Businesses need advanced, adaptable solutions to even hope to stay ahead. And that's precisely why we're proud to be supported by CISO Marketplace. They really specialize in this exact problem, connecting chief information security officers, the CISOs, with the cutting-edge cybersecurity solutions they need to defend against these kinds of evolving dangers. So if you're listening and you're part of an organization looking to bolster your cyber defenses, seriously, head over to www.csomarketplace.com, explore their offerings. It could make a real difference. All right, so we've painted a pretty grim picture of the threats. Now let's dive into how Hong Kong is fighting back. What's the strategy?
Well, Hong Kong's response is definitely multifaceted, and it's largely spearheaded by the CSTCB, the Cybersecurity and Technology Crime Bureau. They've been around for almost a decade now, established back in 2015. And since then, they've adopted this comprehensive strategy. It covers criminal investigations, naturally, but also continuous cyber threat intelligence gathering, working to secure critical infrastructure, and, importantly, extensive public education campaigns.
That integrated approach sounds key. You mentioned their cybersecurity center.
Yes, they operate a 247 cybersecurity center. It's constantly collecting and analyzing threat intelligence from various sources. They also monitor critical infrastructure systems directly and provide defense support when needed.
And they're fostering collaboration, too.
Absolutely. Just last year, CSTCB launched the Security Operations Center Alliance, or SOCIA. Think of it as a core platform for threat intelligence exchange, specifically connecting the operators of large-scale and critical infrastructures across Hong Kong. Sharing information quickly is vital.
Makes sense. And what about proactive measures for that critical infrastructure?
They're quite active there. The CSTCB regularly conducts what they call Internet-Facing Assets Security Assessments, basically scanning systems that are exposed to the Internet for vulnerabilities. They evaluated, I think, tens of thousands of assets in the past year alone.
And what did they find?
Well, the good news is that while about 5% showed vulnerabilities, timely action was taken and the risks were generally controlled.
But what kind of vulnerabilities are they still seeing?
Common critical weaknesses include things like credential leakage, maybe default passwords still in use, or crucially, a lack of multi-factor authentication, MFA, also hijackable subdomains, and exposed cloud storage buckets. Basic configuration errors, often.
And are the old classics still a problem, like unpatched systems?
Alarmingly, yes.
Mhm.
Basic weaknesses like unpatched firewalls, routers, and legacy systems that maybe can't be easily updated,
Right.
they remain prime targets for attackers. It really highlights the persistent challenge of just keeping up with basic cyber hygiene.
This seems like a good point to pivot to Hong Kong's evolving legal framework and data privacy rules. Because tech and policy have to work together, right?
Absolutely. And there's been significant movement on the legal front. A landmark piece of legislation, the Protection Critical Infrastructure's Computer Systems Bill, was actually passed just recently, March 2025.
Okay, what does that do?
It's set to come into effect at the beginning of 2026, so January 1st. It will impose statutory requirements, legal duties on designated critical infrastructure operators.
Like power grids, banks, telecoms.
Exactly. Those sorts of essential services. They'll be required to implement specific security measures and, crucially, it mandates incident reporting.
Mandatory reporting. How quickly?
Severe incidents must be reported within 12 hours, other reportable incidents within 48 hours, and non-compliance isn't taken lightly. It could lead to significant fines, up to HK $5 million, plus potential daily penalties.
So that puts real teeth into critical infrastructure protection.
Definitely. And beyond that specific bill, you have the overarching Personal Data Privacy Ordinance, the PDPO. It's been around since 1996, but was significantly amended in 2021, primarily to tackle doxing.
Right. And what are its core principles?
It regulates all personal data handling in Hong Kong. Data users, that's any organization handling personal data, must collect data only for lawful purposes directly related to their functions.
Right.
They need to ensure the data is adequate but not excessive, keep it secure, and be transparent.
Meaning they have to tell people.
Yes, they must inform data subjects, the individuals whose data it is, about how their data will be used, who it might be transferred to, and about their rights, like accessing or correcting their data. And importantly, consent is required for using data for a new purpose or for direct marketing.
Who oversees all this?
That's the job of the Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data, the PCPD. They handle enforcement, issue guidance, and promote awareness.
Is a dedicated data protection officer, a DPO, legally required in Hong Kong, like under GDPR?
Not explicitly mandated by law like in Europe, no. However, the PCPD strongly encourages organizations to appoint a responsible person, effectively a DPO, to oversee data protection compliance. They also champion the use of privacy impact assessments, PIAs, through their ethical accountability framework.
Ethical accountability framework? Sounds like they're pushing for privacy by design.
That's exactly the idea, building privacy considerations in from the start, not just bolting them on later.
And has the PCPD issued guidance for modern challenges, like cloud computing and AI?
Yes, they've been quite proactive. Their updated guidance on cloud computing, released January 2025, really emphasizes that businesses remain fully accountable for data protection, even when they use third-party cloud providers like AWS or Azure. You can't just outsource responsibility.
What are the key recommendations there?
Things you'd expect, but are crucial. Encrypting data both when it's stored, at rest, and when it's being transmitted in transit, enforcing multi-factor authentication for cloud access, properly auditing subcontractors used by the cloud provider, detailed access logging, and ensuring secure data erasure when services end.
And for AI?
Similarly, they released an AI model framework in June 2024. It provides specific recommendations for organizations developing or using AI systems to help them comply with the PDPO's principles, considering things like data minimization, fairness, transparency, and security in the AI context.
What about moving data outside Hong Kong, cross-border data transfer?
That's a complex area globally. In Hong Kong, the specific statutory restrictions under Section 33 of the PDPO are actually not yet fully enforced. It's been pending for years.
Really, so data can flow freely.
Technically, there isn't a strict legal prohibition right now, but the PCPD strongly encourages organizations to comply with the spirit of Section 33, which involves ensuring the receiving jurisdiction has similar data protection standards or using contractual clauses. And a very significant development, especially for this region, is the introduction of the Guangdong Hong Kong Macau Greater Bay Area, or GBA, standard contract.
Ah, the GBA standard contract. Tell me more.
It was introduced in December 2023 and extended to cover all sectors by November 2024. It provides a standardized, government-approved contractual mechanism to legitimize the flow of personal information from mainland China cities within the GBA to Hong Kong and vice versa. It simplifies compliance significantly for businesses operating across the GBA.
That sounds like a big practical help for businesses in the region.
It really is.
Now, what about data breaches? If a company gets hacked, do they legally have to tell anyone in Hong Kong?
Currently, believe it or not, there's no mandatory legal requirement in Hong Kong to notify the PCPD or the affected data subjects about a data breach.
No mandatory notification. That seems out of step with many places.
It is. However, the PCPD strongly encourages voluntary notification, especially if the breach poses a real risk of harm to the individuals affected. They have guidelines on how and when to notify.
Is that likely to change?
Yes. Mandatory breach notification is one of the key proposed amendments to the PDPO that's been discussed for some time. So we may well see significant changes there relatively soon, bringing Hong Kong more in line with international best practices like GDPR.
And what happens if companies don't comply with the PDPO or ignore notices from the PCPD?
There are teeth. Non-compliance with an enforcement notice issued by the PCPD can result in fines and even imprisonment for the individuals responsible within the company. And specific offenses carry higher penalties. Breaching the direct marketing rules, for instance, and especially doxing, disclosing someone's personal data without consent with the intent to cause harm. That carries potential fines up to HK $1 million and imprisonment for up to 5 years.
And that anti-doxing law reaches overseas platforms too.
Yes. Importantly, the anti-doxing amendments introduced in 2021 gave the PCPD extraterritorial powers. They can issue cessation notices demanding the removal of doxing content, even to individuals or online platforms located outside of Hong Kong. It's a powerful tool designed to combat online harassment. You know, what's truly fascinating here, when you step back, is seeing how Hong Kong is building this really robust defense. It's not just about the latest security tech, right? It's also this strong legal framework we've been discussing, combined with a real push for collaboration. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, all this emphasis on compliance, especially with the new critical infrastructures bill coming in, and the very detailed guidance from the PCPD on everything from cloud security to AI governance, it really highlights the pressure but also the need for organizations to be incredibly proactive about data protection, which naturally raises a really important question. How do organizations actually ensure they're meeting these evolving standards, especially in a landscape that seems to change almost daily? And that's precisely why we appreciate our sponsor, GDPR ISO. Their whole focus is providing expertise to help organizations navigate these complex data privacy regulations, PDPO, GDPR, you name it, and achieve that crucial compliance. So if you're looking for help securing your sensitive data and making sure you're ticking all the regulatory boxes, it's worth checking them out at www.gdprizo.com.
That's www.gdprizo.com, a really valuable resource in this complex environment.
Okay, so we have the tech defenses, the legal framework, but you mentioned collaboration and education earlier. How is Hong Kong fostering that?
That's the other crucial pillar. Building cyber resilience requires serious collaboration, both locally and internationally, and massive public education efforts.
International cooperation must be key, given how borderless cybercrime is. Absolutely critical. The CSTCB actively participates in joint operations. For instance, Operation Distant Hill last year, which was a collaboration with police forces in Singapore and Malaysia.
What did that achieve?
It successfully dismantled a major transnational scam syndicate involved in online deception, leading to multiple arrests across the 3 jurisdictions. It shows that coordinated international action can get results.
And what about collaboration within Hong Kong?
That's also a strong focus.
Yeah.
CSTCB organizes regular cybersecurity seminars specifically for IT professionals to share best practices and threat intelligence. They also conducted a major interdepartmental cybersecurity drill recently. This involved over 250 IT personnel from across 70 different government departments running simulations of cyber attacks to enhance their collective incident response capabilities. Practice makes perfect, or at least better prepared.
And then there's the public awareness side. How are they reaching everyday citizens?
They're doing a lot there. Their Scammeter Plus mobile app is a great example. It allows users to check phone numbers, emails, websites, and even bank account numbers against a database of known scams.
Spameter Plus, has it been successful?
Hugely. By the end of last year, it had performed nearly 6.8 million risk assessments and had been downloaded over 860,000 times. That's significant reach.
And they expanded it recently.
Yes, just a few months ago, they extended its suspicious account alert feature to cover ATM transactions as well. So if you try to transfer money to an account flagged as suspicious, the ATM might give you a warning.
That's a fantastic intervention point.
It really is. And the app has even won international recognition, including an International Press Prize and a gold medal at the Geneva International Exhibition of Inventions.
Wow. What else on the public front?
Well, they launched the Cyber Defenders Alliance last year, partnering with various public and private sector organizations, specifically to combat online scams through coordinated campaigns. They're also engaging young people. The Greater Bay Area Youth Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity Challenge saw over 1,000 students design their own anti-fraud AI models, getting the next generation involved early.
That's smart.
And they held a big 2-day anti-scam carnival event late last year, attracting nearly 20,000 citizens with interactive exhibits and talks promoting scam prevention and anti-money laundering awareness, making it engaging and accessible.
It sounds like they're really trying to build that human firewall through awareness. But what about within organizations? Are they helping businesses test their own staff?
Yes, they run programs for that too. Their ethical phishing email campaign last year was quite eye-opening.
How so?
They sent simulated phishing emails to employees at participating organizations. The results? A shocking 78% of those organizations had at least one employee click the phishing link.
78%.
And worse, around 330 employees actually went further and uploaded sensitive information like login credentials to the fake phishing site.
Ouch. That really underlines the critical need for continuous awareness training, doesn't it? It's not a one-off task.
Not at all. Separately, their bug hunting campaign provided free vulnerability scanning and testing services to over 150 small and medium-sized organizations last year, helping them proactively identify and fix weaknesses they might not have found otherwise.
So, okay, we've covered the threats, the extensive response from legal frameworks to public education. Given all this, what are the most essential actionable steps? For individuals and for organizations, what should people listening do?
Right, let's distill it down. For individuals, it really does start with the basics, but these basics are more critical than ever in today's environment.
Like passwords.
Exactly. First, strong passwords. Use complex ones, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, and critically, make them unique for each important account. Don't reuse passwords.
Which is hard to manage.
It is. Which is why, honestly, you should strongly consider using a password manager. It generates strong, unique passwords and stores them securely. It's a genuine game changer for both security and convenience.
Okay, passwords. What's next for individuals?
Okay, regular data backup. Simple, but vital. Make sure you're regularly backing up your important files, photos, documents, whatever matters to you, to an external hard drive or, even better, an encrypted cloud storage service.
Why is backup so crucial?
It's fundamental for cyber resilience. If you get hit by ransomware that encrypts your files or your hard drive fails, having a recent backup means you can recover your data without potentially paying criminals or losing everything.
Good point. And third?
Third, constant vigilance against scams. Just stay alert. Be suspicious of emails, text messages, social media messages asking for personal data or money, especially if they seem urgent or too good to be true.
Click carefully.
Very carefully. Avoid clicking unknown links or downloading unverified attachments. And always, always verify the sender through a trusted channel if something seems off. Don't just reply to the suspicious email. Maybe call the company or person using a known number. Don't let curiosity or a sense of urgency bypass your common sense.
Okay, solid advice for individuals. What about organizations? The stakes are higher there.
Definitely more comprehensive recommendations needed for organizations, but no less vital. We can break it down into maybe 6 key areas.
Go for it.
First, identify and classify assets. You can't protect what you don't know you have. Clearly categorize your critical information systems, your key data assets, hardware, software, networks. Understand where your vulnerabilities might lie.
Makes sense. Know your kingdom.
Mhm.
Say,
Second, protect and prevent. This is about implementing layers of defense. Strict access controls, least privilege principle, multi-factor authentication, or MFA, absolutely everywhere you possibly can. Robust encryption for data at rest and in transit. Secure configurations for systems. Network security solutions like firewalls and intrusion prevention systems. Endpoint protection on laptops and servers. And critically, continuous employee cybersecurity awareness training. That human element again.
okay, protect and prevent.
Third, detect and monitor. You need to assume that prevention might fail sometimes. So, deploy effective monitoring and detection tools. Think network intrusion detection systems, NIDS, security information and event management SIAM platform to correlate logs, and endpoint detection and response EDR systems for deeper visibility on devices.
Why is detection speed so important?
Because the stats show organizations currently take on average something like 258 days to identify and contain a data breach. It's over 8 months, and even longer, 292 days, for breaches involving stolen credentials. Faster detection dramatically reduces the potential damage and cost.
Okay, detect.
Fourth,
Respond and mitigate. You absolutely need a plan before a crisis hits. Establish clear incident response procedures. Who does what? How do you contain the breach? How do you mitigate the damage? Who handles reporting internally and externally? How do you coordinate recovery? Practice this plan.
don't try to figure it out during the fire.
Exactly. Fifth, recover and restore. Hand in hand with response is recovery. Adopt reliable recovery strategies. That means regular, tested, secure backups, ideally immutable or air-gapped ones, for ransomware protection. Have disaster recovery plans for major outages and business continuity plans to keep essential functions running during disruption. Your ability to bounce back quickly and effectively depends heavily on this preparation.
Right. And the final area, sixth.
Sixth, governance and risk management. This ties it all together. Implement a risk-based approach. Identify your biggest security risks, prioritize them, and decide how to mitigate them, accept, avoid, transfer, control. Start with simple audits if you're small, and evolve to comprehensive security policies, standards, and regular reviews as your organization grows. And part of that governance is tackling those common failures we keep seeing.
Yes. Organizations absolutely must combat the recurring failures seen in so many recent breaches. Outdated systems, missing patches, the lack of MFA we mentioned, delayed security updates, sometimes even excessive data retention, keeping data you don't legally need anymore, just increases your risk profile. And remember, those unpatched firewalls and legacy systems are still prime targets. Effective threat detection is critical given those long dwell times.
One last point for organizations, that post-M&A data sharing issue you mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes. Important practical point. Following a recent Administrative Appeal Board, AAB, ruling in Hong Kong, businesses really need to review their compliance carefully regarding data sharing after mergers or acquisitions.
What's the gist?
Essentially, customer data collected by one brand before an acquisition shouldn't just be freely accessed or used by other brands within the new larger group without properly informing those existing clients or, where necessary, obtaining their fresh consent. You can't just assume consent transfers automatically across previously separate businesses. It's a PDPO compliance point.
Good heads up for companies involved in M&A. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, it's crystal clear that the cyber threat landscape is incredibly complex. It's constantly evolving, driven by tech like AI, blockchain, 5G.
And no one is immune. Individuals, small businesses, large corporations, governments,
Yeah.
everyone is a target.
So true resilience, it seems, requires this collective, multi-layered approach we've talked about. It starts with individual cyber hygiene, builds up through robust organizational strategies and defenses, and relies heavily on strong collaboration between governments, the public and private sectors, and international partners.
Absolutely. And the future of cybersecurity is going to be defined by how well we integrate new technologies like AI, not just for attack, but crucially for defense. And perhaps even more importantly, by how effectively we foster this culture of continuous awareness, continuous learning, and continuous training. It can't be static.
So thinking about that constant evolution, the question for all of us listening isn't really if we'll face some kind of cyber challenge, a phishing attempt, malware, maybe worse.
No, the question is how prepared are we? How prepared are you to detect it, to respond effectively, and to recover afterwards?
Which leads to our final thought for you today. What single personal or organizational cyber hygiene practice will you prioritize this week? Just one thing. What will you do to strengthen your own digital resilience?
And on that note, a huge thanks again to our fantastic sponsors, GDPR ISO. You can find them at www.gdprezo.com for their invaluable expertise in navigating data protection compliance.
And CISO Marketplace at www.cisomarketplace.com for their crucial role in connecting businesses with the cybersecurity solutions they need to stay safe.
Their support really helps us bring these deep dives to you, aiming to empower you to be more informed and hopefully more secure in our increasingly interconnected world.